Canada show, U23 versus Honduras. So we're going to talk about that in our Canadian wrap up here, but we're also going to talk senior men's national team after this with a special guest. He's going to pop in for that game breakdown, and I'm going to give you some hints throughout the U23 breakdown. The person joining us has 5 caps for Canada, the senior national team. Okay, I'll drop you a couple other hints later. Lineup for the U23s against Honduras is Pantemis, Broguillard, Norman, Cornelius, Godinho at the back, Baldissimo, Metcalf, center midfield, Bassong starting on the wing, Buchanan, Tabla, Bear is the rest of the lineup. So all that said, Stephen, other than my haircut, what surprised you most about this game?
Love your Forrest Gump haircut. Love it. Bubba Gump shrimp. It's a bit surprising that Bassong started. I didn't see or know too much of him. He was largely absent, but I thought he was pretty good in the second half. He seemed to sort of step it up a little bit when Canada was under the cosh a bit. Interesting game, really interesting game. I personally, I'm picking on the Ottawa guy, but I didn't like Theo Bear again. I don't think he offered anything. Like, he didn't drop deep very much like he did at least the game before. It's a hard thing to say. Like, if he's listening, he's probably going to hate me, but I didn't really even see him sprint. And, I know you got to play in that altitude and heat, but holy cow, like, you got to offer something up there. Like, it just seemed like there was nothing, like absolutely nothing. And that's a shame. You can tell he's definitely got talent. So other than that, I don't know if you want me to go into the full game breakdown or what here. Like, it's
well, I mean, again, the Bear thing was something I wanted to bring up again, and it's not negative or picking on somebody. We're just being honest here. And I was looking up some ratings too, and he was getting crushed all over the place. And it's not, I don't know what it is, because we all know he's talented. He plays in the MLS. He gets minutes with the Whitecaps. I just, I guess when you see that, you just expect big things.
Yeah.
And once again, though, I'll throw to you again, like Balou Tabla taken off at the 60th minute. It's like clockwork. You start him and take him out. It's like, this guy, you can tell, and I'll throw it to you as a coach. If you're playing a guy who's a confidence player, he's obviously upset the Barca thing didn't come on. He came back. He's this, that, and the other. If you're going to take him in this squad, you got to like just be like arm around shoulder, go and play.
Yeah. I think I was surprised because I think they left Theo Bear on at that time when they took him off as well. And I thought he should have been the first one off. Like, at least you look like with Tabla, you're going to get something on a counter. You're going to get some creativity. He's going to wiggle out of something and, pop up and create something. And I didn't see any of that with Bear. It's the same when Brim came on. Nothing really spectacular, but when Brim came on, I saw like some hold up play. I saw him trying to chest the ball down and lay it back to the midfield. And I saw a willingness to push forward and at least press the goalie a little bit and force him to like knock it out of bounds or something. So, when you got players like that, they're actually doing it, like, ride them. And to your point to Tabla, like, I don't know, man. I thought maybe they should have adopted a bit of a counterattack thing and maybe taken Bear off and had more pace up top, because obviously, Route 1 or whatever he's offering isn't working, or anything was working. So why not have him and Tage and Buchanan as like 2 outlets to really just get at people? Maybe put Raposo back on in the middle or something like you were saying. So it's tough. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe there's something with the two of them. Or I don't know. Maybe he's just, the heat and the altitude, you can't underplay that enough. Like, it is incredible. And them going through that, the Canadians, it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I like, one thing that's doing my head in is like, Cornelius went out. Is he hurt long term? Nothing's coming out about it. Like,
no, it's like they're keeping under wraps on purpose. He looked upset at one point. I thought he was cramping, and maybe it was part of the plan to get him out for a little bit. But the way his face looked, it was like, ooh, is this an injury? And then they put Metcalf at the back, which I had no idea he could play center back.
I don't think he could, but I think they're out of options at this point. Like, they have nobody else. There's no more center backs.
Yeah, so it's Norman, Cornelius, and then the Montgomery's out.
Yeah, he's hurt. I think he was on the bench, but obviously not ready if they didn't bring him in.
Yeah, and they put Metcalf. He did all right. Right off the bat, he went way out of position and got like they almost got a chance. Like he took off like a midfielder, and then he kind of anchored himself and he made a couple good plays later on. So it worked out. I was worried about that, to be honest, because Cornelius had a great game, I thought.
Yeah, he's a different level. Like he's amazing. I love that guy. And
I'll be honest though, like having said that, I love him and I love Pantemis, and I thought both were at fault for the goal though. Like when I watched the replay, I didn't see Cornelius jump. Like he stood still, and maybe he got knocked on his shoulders or something, but he didn't jump. Like he didn't jump at all, and like just getting across the ball sometimes throws the guy off. And I don't know what the goalie was doing coming for that. Like it was
that was 100% my fault for saying how good he was last time we did this show. I'd be like, he's MLS, he's going to play for Man United. I was like all over him.
Yeah.
And then
that was bad. That was bad.
It was bad. But
you know what? The header went in the corner like a bullet. Even if he stayed, he may not have had a chance at it. It was a good header.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? Like we said last week, these are all young guys. Like Pantemis will have learned a zillion things from that one simple mistake.
For sure. I thought Baldissimo put him in trouble a bunch of times. There's 3 or 4 like really wayward passes from him. And like, I don't know, like the announcers aren't saying it like the first game, but I thought Pantemis saved the day a lot with his kicking, sliding in and getting to a kick before someone, or just knocking it out of bounds. Like he came to the rescue a few times with his passing.
Yeah, he did. And I don't know what it is with, I think it's Baldissimo mostly in this, but I've seen it with Norman a few times. It's like first option is just rip it into Pantemis's feet. Like they're not even looking to turn or go forward. Sometimes it's just like easy option. I mean, I'm sure they're nervous and they don't want to make that mistake, but you're throwing, I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather than make a mistake trying to split something or trying to go forward than put Pantemis under all the time.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
It's hard, but I like Metcalf again, and Broguillard to me is turning into just like Gary Neville, like just a 7.5 every game.
Yeah, he's good. He's solid. He's always there. He's counted on. Godinho's good too. Like that's some strength there. They're very compact. Baldissimo and Metcalf, even if Baldissimo's sort of in and out a little bit defensively, he's been good. Metcalf's been good. Cornelius, Norman, they've been solid. Pantemis's saves have been incredible. Like, I think like they're tough to break down, which is obviously good in a tournament like this. And I feel like it's a bit more like, I feel like Canada's learned over the last little while. It's like they've matured somehow as a nation overall. Like even the new kids coming in, like these guys, I think the Bielos and these other guys are telling them what to expect and they're ready for it now. Like even though that was a tough game and they were dying by the end, they feel a little more CONCACAF hardened, and
100%. Because I mean, think about it, when these guys, I don't know, 8 of them, 4 of them, 2 of them end up away at Panama in 5 years' time, like they'll have this to lean on, and that to me is like invaluable. And getting all these guys, like you said, CONCACAF ready, like it's invaluable. And again, we're a win and 2 draws. We haven't been beaten. Like. For all the criticizing the players here and there, like we're unbeaten in the group. And I mean, the only reason we're not first is that Honduras played Haiti with a player, one of like their center back in net and 9 players. It's like, if that didn't happen, we're top of the group. So, I mean, it's a pretty good situation Canada soccer's in when we're critiquing like an unbeaten group stage. So that's pretty sweet.
You're right. It is. It's like they've done the job. They're going into a game, a one-off. Like that's where they want to be. They're there. It's too bad they're playing the Mexicans. They're so strong. I watched them against the US. Either Mexico or US is a tough out, like to try and knock them, but it's a one-off. The only criticism I would really have from that game is I thought, even if they lost 2-1 at that point at the end, they could have maybe rolled the dice, gone route 1 or something, knocked, like I would have expected maybe a final little push. And I heard the announcer say it a few times and I have to agree with him. Like a couple times, like get in the box, do something like, do something crazy, like just go for it, because playing Mexico in Mexico, like the class of the group, like you want to take at least a 5-minute shot at getting a goal somehow, and I felt like they were kind of hanging on at the end, which
Yeah.
was a good thing in a way because it showed they can do it. But I would have liked to have seen a little more.
Yeah, I wonder if just simply like none of them playing right now is just taking its toll. Like third game, like people are starting to drop now. Like we're down to bare bones. Like they're like they're dead on their feet. And Mexico's been, I mean, they're playing. I don't know how much the young ones are playing, but they are. But so, Coach Steve, what do you do? Do you go in and like, do you just pack it in now and just hope for penalties?
It's tough. Yeah, I don't know if you, obviously you can never say that, but like you can't be exposed against Mexico. It's not even just how good they are, but like you said, they're playing, and those young guys are playing in the Mexican League, and they're in mid-season. So it's like this. It's a tough one. I'm not going to say Canada can't do it. I'm not going to be one of those naysayers. They can't. They're definitely the underdogs. I think you have to be very pragmatic. I think you just do. I think you not only do you have to be pragmatic because how good Mexico is, just the physicality of what we just talked about in the difference in fitness levels and the difference in being able to play at altitude. I think you got to really pack it in. I almost want to see like Buchanan up top on his own with using his pace or something, like let him just try something, get him on a counter one-on-one, get Tabla on one side, or maybe leave him on one side, Tabla on the other, and Brim up top with like someone with some pace up there. I would not play Theo Bair in that game. The only reason I'd play him is for set pieces, and even that I haven't seen anything from him offensively or defensively to say, he's a massive difference maker you have to have in there. And the Mexicans aren't exactly set piece fiends. I think you got to really try and control them. That guy on the wing who scored against the Mexican, Antuna, that guy's some player, man. Like,
he's got like 4 goals or something.
Oh,
I don't know if that's the guy, but man,
he's teasing people with his runs. And like, I think a couple of the other Mexicans I watched the other day didn't even play that well, and they still look pretty good. Like, so I think you have to be pragmatic. I think you got to be a bit like 4-5-1, less 4-3-3 type formation thing, and do what they're good at. Be compact, but try and get him on counters. Really try hard to get him on, like really focus on a counter. I didn't see a lot of that against Honduras. And that's what I said, especially towards the end. I thought like you got to at least go for it. And I think you should try it a few times against the Mexicans. Otherwise, you're going to be totally dead, right?
Yeah. Before I ask you another question here, our guest who's coming up played in Europe for 3 years. And before he went to Europe, he was an All-American, led the nation in scoring for an Ivy League school. Should we say the school?
Yeah, go for it. I think it's a tough get.
It's Cornell. Okay, he did that, and he came home, played 4 years in the USL, 1 year with the Ottawa Fury in 2018. So those are all the hints you're going to get. He's coming up in a few minutes, but
and he's a great guy.
Yeah. So here it is. Question: is this like a no-win situation for Biello in terms of what you were just saying? Because if they go 5-4-1, pack it in, this is everybody, hindsight, Twitter keyboard warriors, they should have just gone for it. And then if they go for it, they should have been, so is it literally a lose-lose for this guy?
It's such a, he's in a tough spot. You're right. You're really right. There's so much, maybe it's just me. I don't know. It feels like there's so much more attention on Canadian soccer lately that like he's got a bit of press and he's got a bit of like expectation or second guessing. I think it's a great call by you. I think it is a no-win. He can't open up. Like I sound like Mourinho.
That's true though.
And people are going to be like, you got to go for it. And I'm always usually that guy, but I just think you can't. And it is not, it's less to do with Mexico being good. And to me, it's all about the conditions and it's all about the COVID and the fact you haven't played games. Like if you're mid-season form, maybe you do it. Maybe roll the dice. I don't think you can do it. I think he has to sit. He just does.
Yeah. And I mean, the 5 sub rule, I mean, you got to use the whole thing and you got to do it earlier to keep because, if you're playing, we've all done this in our men's league where it's like you're short a man or whatever, and you're just packing it in.
Yeah.
And by the 60th minute, you're shattered. And, like you got to bring in those 5 guys in the important, even if it means taking a Baldissimo or guys like that off, you just need fresh legs, man. And you cannot let them score in the first 20, 25. Like, I mean, you got to play 11 keepers at this point. Like, you can't let them score.
And they had fans at the U.S. game, and they actually made a difference. They were booing the U.S. when they had the ball. It was like, wow, it's neat to hear fans again. Like, and they were pretty vociferous for like a small amount of fans. So like, you get scored on early, you're in the total Mexican like CONCACAF hell, and you're in some trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be one of two things, right? It's going to be like 1-0, or it's going to be 7-win. Like, there's going to be nowhere in between. If they score early, it could get ugly.
If they score early, yeah. I disagree with you though. I think I don't think it's gonna be 7-0, but it very well could be. I just think I think this team's solid enough that they're hard enough to break down that they'll keep it close.
Yeah. I just hope we have defenders. Imagine we have Metcalf and Norman, two center midfielders, playing center back. I mean,
God,
I feel like it just sucks that these guys can't really give it their full.
You know what? Good for Norman though. Like, I've been impressed with him. I haven't seen too much from myself, and I've been impressed. Like, he's a hard worker, man. I respect his attitude. Like, he puts it all in. You can see like the effort.
Tell he's playing in Scotland.
What's that?
You can tell he's played in Scotland.
Yeah, you see it. He's got that like heart on his sleeve type thing, and I respect that. He's doing what he has to do for his country. Good for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like we said, like, at this point, I saw some things on Twitter, same thing, like, well, we blew it. We had a chance to get in. Again, we've got our unbeaten group stage. We've got a one-off to get through. And like, glass half full, imagine the experience they picked up against Honduras. Imagine the experience they'll pick up away at Mexico in heat, not even playing games with fans now. It's like, you know what? It's like the Matrix, when he loads up like cards of like different karate things. It's like, if you could load up 25 young Canadian players with that experience, we'd all have done it before the tournament. So
yeah, I was thinking about it because I watched both games. Like, it's such a big pool of players. If you go with those guys and the guys in the senior team, the guys that weren't there, and just the fact that Canada's getting all these guys, lots of guys experience, like you said, lots of things to draw on. Like, worst case scenario, you might just give Tajon Buchanan and Cornelius something that helps us qualify for the 2026 World Cup. He might just be that all that comes out of this. It might just be that 2 of your big stars have had that. Like, it's invaluable. I would just love it if they did it. It'd be so, like, can you imagine knocking Mexico out in Mexico?
Oh man, I don't know if those guys would get out of there, but